Hey there, it's Bobby Legs, and welcome to another episode of Watch Soup. I am one of your co-hosts this evening. I am joined by my other co-hosts, Clayton from the Watchdog podcast, Sanjay from the Engineer Wannabe channel. Hey, I'm going to start off with Clayton. Clayton, how are you this evening? How was your weekend? Talk to me.
It was a good weekend. Actually recorded two podcasts this weekend,
Yes.
so have not released either of them yet, but work should be tomorrow morning. Yeah, went to lunch yesterday. Went to a little like pop-up horror show at a local brewery earlier today that my friend
Nice.
was a part of. He runs like a film festival, horror movie film festival in October, so he was hawking that, and he invited me to sit with him for a while. So yeah, that was fun. So busy weekend. Now it's Sunday night, and I'm here with you guys. So
Now
all
it's,
good.
now it's time for some soup. Hey, what do you got on wrist?
Wearing the Moser. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So glad you
Yep.
decided to keep that.
Yeah, I had a
I love that.
momentary lapse in clear thinking when I
Yeah.
thought I might sell it for a little while, but that's done.
Yeah. Awesome.
I
Awesome.
was not aware of this.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I listed
It
it
was
there
a
for a
thing.
bit.
No.
Yeah, but no, it's safe.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
now it's safe. Now
Yeah.
we can just like pretend that never happened.
Right,
Right.
right.
Just so we'll never talk about it again. Hey Sanjay, what's going on? How was your weekend, dude?
Good, good. It's so hot. So hot here in Toronto area.
What are you talking about? In Fahrenheit, please.
It's not that hot. It's 27 Celsius. What's that?
That's math. I can't do it.
75?
Oh yeah. We're
Yeah.
gonna
No.
it was 70, it
80?
was in the 70s today.
We're getting that this week.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I like winter. I'm a winter guy, so
Me too. Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm so looking for. I looked at the weather ahead and I saw 79, 79, and
Yeah.
then at the end of
Yeah.
this week, it's going to be back down for us anyway to the lower 60s and upper 40s at night. And I'm like, yes, okay, getting there.
That's my jam. As long as it doesn't rain. It's been raining
Oh
so
yeah.
much here.
Yeah.
I've had enough of that.
Yeah,
Oh, I
we've got-
tried. The ground has been so wet here, and
Yeah.
because of the rain, I tried to like just mow a little bit because I had things to do today, and I just wanted to get some mowing. And
Mhm.
like every 20 feet, my mower was seizing because the grass was
Yeah.
still so
Clumped.
wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it clumped up, and I had to like clear it and do that. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna put this aside. It's supposed to be warm and dry the next couple of days. I'll just wait and mow on my lunchtime.
Yeah.
Sanjay, I saw your stream last night.
Yeah.
You had Keith and Dib, and what a great combination that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Getting
great.
those guy there. Yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot.
It was a good time.
Yeah, because you got Dib, who's like the edgy guy.
Right.
Keith is the more, very laid back guy, and you're very laid back too.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like the three of you guys work together really
Yeah.
really well. That was fun.
It's a good stew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you wearing tonight?
Wearing the Pelagos, as Tim Moss would
Nice.
say.
Nice. Great
Cool.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great watch. And
I
I
know
got
what you're
my.
wearing.
Oh, what do you think I'm wearing?
I'm guessing you're wearing the Classique
Oh,
350.
you are correct.
Yeah.
Oh, saw
You are
that. That
correct.
is awesome. Congrats on that.
Yeah, I am smitten. I took it off the Nubuck. I can't. I don't know. Am I saying the right Nubuck strap or what?
New buck. Yeah.
Nubuck. I don't know. I can't say it.
No buck.
Nunchucks. It was just a little stiff and thick. So I got like another strap here, and it's a Mon strap. Yeah, Mon strap,
Okay.
and it looks great. It's awesome.
does.
It's like it was born for that watch. So I'm smitten. I was wearing it all day, and yeah, great watch. Hey, let's say hello to the chat before we get into the soup. Mayzone is here. Greetings, watch humans. Chaz from the Berg. Mr. Wilson, hello. Mayzone's wearing the Moser Heritage this evening.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Chaz wearing the SBGJ 261 tonight. What is that one?
Peacock.
Peacock. Okay.
Yep.
Just seeing if you're paying attention. Peter C is here. How you doing, Peter? James is wearing his Vacheron Constantin Renaissance tonight.
Nice.
You didn't do the French Renaissance. Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, I was I wanted to land the Vacheron Constantin like Bill Williams,
Bruce
Bru-
Willis.
so I almost I gave up on the end of that. You're right. I should
Yeah,
have
yeah.
kept it. No, okay,
You gotta go all the way.
I know. I know. Well, hopefully James is wearing that next week, and I could
Yeah.
try it again. Waven is here. How you doing, Waven? Joey B, what's going on? Detroit Spartan, Bruno, what is up, Bruno? Stefan is here. Hey, Stefan. Chaz is here. Great to see some members of the Bobby stream, Bobby Legs YouTube channel here on the chat today. Big Wrist saying howdy. How are you, Big Wrist? Scott Tarlow. Hey, all. Wearing my Pelagos 39 in solidarity
Yeah.
with Sanjay here. Very nice. Hey, Caliber is here. Underachieving watch collector. Hello to you. Mez9, what's going on? Ivy Mac talks. Hey y'all, nice to be here live with y'all. Wearing my custom Vostok Amphibia today. Okay. Hey, Hobby Bobby's here. What is up? Wayban's wearing his Nomos Metro in honor for Bobby's latest German obsession, Glasuta. I nailed it. Nailed it, Wayban. Unfortunately, I didn't nail your name the first time. Late but here, Polar Explorer 2 tonight for the Deech Man. Let's see more. Hey, Stefan. Symphony for the Bezel. Trifecta, 3 amigos, 3 best content creators. Thanks, man.
Oh,
I really
you're always
appreciate
so
that.
nice. You're
Yeah.
always really nice. Too nice.
Young buck. Bobby likes using the German pronunciation. Okay, Nuber. Hans Wilsdork. Good evening, watch people. Wearing the Speedy tonight. Kevin S is here. I'm just here from the Numbuck. No. Deb, he said I thought the 356 was a Ghana too thick. No, sir. No. This is. I don't have a problem with the thickness. It's
You're
all
down
good.
with the thickness.
Yeah, I'm down with the thickness.
Yeah, I got that reference.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, Pepe D's Nuts. What's going on? Good to see you, sir. All right. So let's jump into the soup, and we have a couple topics. If you guys have first time here, we take some of the watch content from the big content creators in the watch space on YouTube, and we go through it, we analyze it, we talk about it. Sometimes, some weeks there's great content. Some weeks, we have to fish for content and try our best. So, having said that,
That didn't happen last week.
what was that?
That didn't happen last week.
Hey, we got good feedback.
Yeah, that was great. That was so
I was
cool.
fired up. Let's start off with this watch, that watch, talking about what makes a good black dive watch. Sanjay, this was your pick.
Yeah.
Tell us about this one.
Yeah. It was this guy, this watch that watch guy is a treasure. He is so good. I don't agree with everything that he talked about here, but the way he picks stuff apart is so good. I love it.
Yeah. He'll be a regular on this channel, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Clayton, for finding him for me.
Oh gosh.
But what do you guys think of the FXD, the new one, the black one?
It's my favorite Pelagos. I love it.
Mm. I think it's a great watch. I think it's great looking. Yeah. And I love the NATO combo. I love a lot of things about it for sure.
Yeah. And we know Dib is really into it as well. We were talking about it last night.
Yes.
Clayton, are you on the list for one,
yes, I believe so. Yep. I had asked my AD about it, and she of course she was like, which one is it? And then she sent me the link, and she's like, oh yeah, we actually have one coming this week, but I believe it's spoken for. But so she's gonna order me, and I haven't actually heard back. I know she's got some family stuff. So I assume it's no rush really, but whenever they get another one, I have no idea how frequently they'll be getting these. But
I also really like the Black Pelagos. Or FXD, I should say. I think it's the better one, personally speaking, because I don't like the countdown bezel on the blue, and I don't love the shade of blue on the Marine Nationale. Pelagos, or FXD, I should say. But and this watch, that watch, he seems to be a big fan of this watch as well. So interestingly, though, he thinks that this watch lands on no man's land in terms of this watch black dial dive watch continuum that he came up with, which was incredible. I feel like it was a little all over the place. Maybe that's just my lack of understanding, my lower than average IQ. But so you had four categories in this continuum, right? So you had very low level. He had basic tool divers. He had characteristic divers. And he had basic premium black dial divers, and they had distinctive premium black dial divers. Although weirdly, he put the summer blue Ploprof in here as a distinctive premium thing, which is not a black dial diver, which looked really weird in his graphic that he had put up too. But the point was that it was Ploprof that was different and premium. Okay, so kind of where it falls apart, right? He was talking about the categories, how they're separated. You got basic tool divers, which are like the bog standard, super form following function kind of divers. So he posed like the Unimatic in there. He even said the Pelagos 39 goes in there. He said Seiko SJE093 goes in there, which I thought was a little eyebrow raising, or the SPB 149, like bog standard form following function. I'm sure he has his reasons for putting those other divers in there, but then he had his characteristic divers, Panerai, Ploprof, Super Doxa 300, Super characteristic. Although I think the Doxa 300. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, it was so picky, but one of the things that he was talking about, like basic premium, so like tool divers, but premium, which is where the Submariner goes. He was talking about so it's the basic divers, but they have applied indices and a little what would you call it? A little flare added to the
ceramic
tool
bezels.
Yeah. The problem though is like half the divers that he mentioned on the basic tool also would have fit on the basic premium, especially because he had the sub and the Longines Hydro Conquest in there. Because the Longines Hydro Conquest, if anything, I would have bumped it down to the basic category, but it has applied 369, 6912, and applied indices and all that. But then so does the SJ. I'm not wearing the SJE, but the SJ093 has very. It has a lot of flair to it, very high quality polishing and applied indices and all that. Like especially a Tissot C Star 1000, which is almost copying the planet, not the Planet Ocean, but the Divers 300. Yeah, Seamaster Divers 300 Professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Diver 300, not Divers 300. So yeah, super nerdy. I don't want to get overly nerdy here, but I feel like what he was doing was a little, the continuum that he posed was interesting, and I think we could probably build a case around that continuum, which is very, very fascinating, I thought. But the examples he posed were a little, kind of not quite fitting in those categories, which I don't blame him for, because those are very nitpicky categories, especially because we were looking at black dial dive watches, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a very interesting thought exercise. I do implore you guys to go watch the video, because there's a lot of info there, and it's not poorly presented. So you're probably not going to get bored, as you're probably getting bored with me right now, but with him, you're not going to get bored. I don't know if you'll agree with him 100%. I know I didn't, but the point is, in the end, he came down to the conclusion that the FXD is in no man's land. It doesn't fit into any of these continuums. It's not a basic tool dive watch per se. It doesn't have that much character to it. it's not premium, and it's not distinctive. I don't know if you guys agree with that. What do you guys think, Bobby? Thoughts?
Well, in regards to the FXE, look.
Yeah.
So, man, this video and this conversation that we're having around this video, and then added this watch, throw this watch in there. It creates. Well, it gets. Well, how am I going to? So I've been struggling with what are dive watches really worth to me,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
And so, like, as the previous owner of a Rolex Submariner, a watch is a great watch. Do I really need to spend that kind of money to have that kind of watch in my collection? Can I have a suitable collection with dive watches that are, let's say, $1,000 to $3,000, and be as happy and get all the satisfaction and still feel that little bit of luxury? Definitely get that tool watch feeling. So that's where I kind of went with this, listening to this video, watching the video. And so, like, the FXD, I agree with his argument that it, using the evidence that he presents, that this watch lands in nowhere's land. I get that. Um, but but the FXD itself, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I really don't. I really don't know what I'm trying to say here, uh, because it just took me on a different tangent, of
Yeah.
thinking here with this categories, and it was thought provoking. That's why I like this video, and I'm with you, Sanjay. Like, it's a little bit like little all over the place, kind of. He does present it well, but to me, like, these four categories, while they make sense, I have it down to two in mind. and
Mm.
and so that's where I'm slipping up here, and just try. I can't even answer the question because I'm just like, what just happened after I watched that video?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Your thoughts, Clayton?
I think the FXD doesn't get enough credit. It's a mainstream brand, Tudor. It's a regular production watch with fixed lugs. There's not anybody else doing that. So
Right.
when
Yeah.
he says not novel, like, I think, in my opinion, that's pretty novel. Um,
Mhm.
that's a brave choice for, and I know it's tied to, this one's tied to the Navy SEALs. The original is Marine Nationale. So I get that tie, but still, it's a pretty, because a lot of people are not going to be into that, right? Because
Yeah.
what's the number one thing you hear? Like, oh, no titanium bracelet. He talked about it in the video.
Yeah.
So yeah, that puts it maybe in no man's land. But I think that is novel. I like this watch. So I wrote down any Pelagos I decide to buy is, I'm going to have to compromise. The original is titanium, but it's very chunky and it still does have some heft to it, which
Mm.
is not my favorite. This, I'm not really like a NATO strap guy, but I got to try on the FXD in Michigan and it wore like an absolute dream.
Mhm.
I was very close to getting it that day when I saw it. Like, that just convinced me. I'd always admired it from afar, but that was the first time I got to try it on. I was like, whoa, this, I'll put up with the strap thing. Like, I actually like the stock Velcro strap that it came on. So I'd probably keep it on that in all likelihood and mess around with some NATOs. That's the beauty. You can just easily do that, right?
Right.
So when this one came out, but yeah, the blue was not my favorite shade. I like the original Pelagos blue better than this
Mm.
FXD blue. So when this black one came out, I like the standard timing bezel also, as opposed to the countdown on the blue Marine Nationale. So yeah, I love this watch. Everybody thought it was a little boring or whatever. I was like, I don't know, it's just a badass tool watch. So, and I'm not like you were saying, Bobby, like, what do I need in a dive watch? I have bought and sold many like shiny Rolex Submariner, Omega
Yeah.
Seamaster. I'm not a huge fan of the kind of blingy ceramic bezel, to be honest. So this
Yeah.
is my jam 100%. And he talked about it cannibalizing perhaps too, but I think the great thing with that they've done with the FXD, like, I don't know, if you're buying the FXD, you probably weren't going to buy the original. That's the camp I'm in, because
Mm.
it's just a little too thick.
Mm.
It just, yeah, I don't want to spend that much money on a watch that wears that way on me.
Yeah.
So this, it's not cannibalizing at all. It's giving me another option. So I was
Yeah.
never going to buy that big one in the first place.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, because I was thinking of you when he mentioned that,
Yeah.
that it would be taking away from the customers who were going to buy the Pelagos anyway.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of you, but would you think that you're the exception to the rule, or would you think that you are, general, like you're someone who kind of liked the Pelagos, but it wasn't quite there, but the FXD took it all the way, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I don't. I think I'm probably the exception because I don't know how popular it is because a lot of people
Right.
don't like the fixed lug thing,
Yeah.
and that's also. I mean, gosh, that's I'm still not sure about that part of it. It
Yeah.
yet remains to be seen because am not really a NATO strap person. So, but I like the way
Yeah.
it wore so much. I'm willing to take the gamble. I think, especially on this black one. Maybe not on the blue one, but on this black one for sure.
Do you think so? Do you think people who are fans of the Pelagos, like what Sanjay has, or the 42, can be also a fan and get an FXD, or is it more likely that people who get an FXD can also get a Pelagos who would find that attractive? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
is it possible to to do both, right? And just be fine with that, right? Or do you think there's more people who are just like in either camp? Like it's got to be either one. I can't own both of them.
I don't know. Hey.
Got a visitor.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we know somebody who has a Pelagos, and our buddy Craig, when he tried on the FXD with me, it's a watch he was not a fan of, and then he tried
Mhm.
it on, and it was like me, like, whoa, this wears way better than I thought it would.
Yeah,
The thinness, it just wore like a dream, even with the the added thickness of the strap. I don't know. I thought it wore awesome, and I have a 7-inch wrist. And those guys have bigger wrists than me, but I still the size wasn't a big deal at all. I thought it was great.
yeah.
Yeah. But the FXD for me was like a kind of a non-starter anyway, because the Pelagos originally was just too big for me. So
Mhm.
the only watch for me was the Pelagos 39.
Yeah.
So the
They're different.
FXD.
They're all three of them are different, and if you want, you can probably add like the 39. I saw that one there the same day. I saw all three of them next to each other, and the 39 was probably my least favorite just because I had a little sunburst dial and maybe resembled like a Black Bay a little too much for me personally. But still awesome. But just I like the FXD more.
Could
Yeah.
could s- would so could anyone make a video like this and switch out black dive watch with blue dive watch? Like, is the black dial such the dive watch standard now, right? That when we think tool watch, eh, whether we admit it to ourselves or not, the black dial has to be an important component of it.
I think one of his arguments was that if it has color, it becomes characteristic. Like
Right,
it changes it, it draws attention to itself,
right.
whereas black doesn't. So maybe that's why he was talking about
He's talking
the
about
summer
the
blue.
yeah, yeah, and the doxa, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, right,
Orange toxa.
with the
Yeah.
orange dial. Yeah. Um, while we still chew on some of the, more of this video, let me check with the chat and see what they're doing or saying. How I was saying, Sanjay, that was a reference I wish you would not have understood. Um, Tib fighting back, down with the sickness by Disturbed, good song. Um, oh dear boy, Dib. Oh Dibby. Um,
Down with
Black
the
F.
thickness sounds like you're just saying sickness, but with a lisp or something.
Right, right, right. The Black FSC is better than the blue, in Hans's opinion.
Hmm.
Um, still thinks people buy DeLoreans because they know how to, because of how they drive. Okay, it's Troy Martin. Countdown bezels on the Zin 104. He says more watches should have countdown bezels. I just want a new black FXD NATO strap. He just wants the strap. Yeah, those straps are good. I mean, they make good straps, Tutors,
Yeah.
or whoever makes it for them. Fixed lugs makes the Pelagos a great beach watch, like a higher end CWC. Hey, Quicker Than a Drawing is here. How you doing? Good to see you. And so is KR Joy. Hello. Good to see you too. Too late. Passed over nerdy way back. Way back. Okay, fair enough. FXD is absolutely a premium watch built for professional divers. So a lot of love with the FXD.
I see the fact that it's titanium alone adds to the premium thing,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just a steel dive watch. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
titanium. So
Yeah. I think I'm disagreeing. I'm starting. The more and more I think about it, I mean, this watch is not in nowhere's land.
no,
Now
it's
that I'm
not.
thinking
No,
about it,
I don't
yeah,
think it is either.
yeah. I mean, I may have been on the fence here before, and now listening to you guys and talking it through, this, yeah. I'm pretty confused now. Yeah, I'm sorry if I confused. I didn't know where I was going. I was really, yeah.
No,
I'm in a weird space when it comes to dive watches these days.
I don't think it was you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good.
No.
Good. That's so nauseous of me thinking it was me, right? Oh man. Not so obvious, Bobby. Legs tonight. Hey, buddy. Um, but the famously orange Doxa is most definitely a tool watch. The dial is orange for a reason.
Yep.
Um, that's true. So any final thoughts on this before we move on, Sanjay? I mean, did you have any else you wanted to?
Yeah, well, at the end he had said that it's harder than you think to design premium, not a premium dive watch, but a basic black dial dive watch. It's not as easy as people stated out to be. So, yeah, I think I tend to agree with that. That not I don't think that was his final statement, but one of his ending parting statements. I do like that continuum. I do want to chew on that a bit more, like see if we can improve that continuum
Yeah.
and come up with maybe an adjusted continuum that is a bit easier to delineate between, right? I'd like to think more about that video, but that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like last time he caused thought, he provoked so much thought, and this time so much thought has been provoked. I was sitting there with papers and writing stuff down, trying to figure out what he was saying, because at first what he was talking about just went whoosh.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
to watch the video a couple of times. So, although no, not saying that is a bad video, you guys really should watch it.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot, like it's densely packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's how I felt taking notes for the first one we covered. I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah. He's got to be an engineer or something.
Yeah. The way he thinks about things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the next topic video, and that is Federico talks watches, the big problem facing watch collectors today. And so I picked this video, and I found it interesting. I found it, we got like a little bit of a feel of what the back end of Delray Watch is like and run, especially with when it comes to the servicing part. And he and Federico was mentioning how they have they had a part of their business was that they would service watches, but now it's gotten to a point where they spend so much time servicing watches on warranty that they give and checking on watches that they bring in, that sometimes they consult, they portion that stuff out, they to other places, and so he used an example of they had a Bond era Seamaster that came in, I guess, in trade or they had bought, and there was a part in there, the back plate, that their watchmaker was like, you got to send this back to Omega because they need to give the original plate, but otherwise it's a movement that is easily serviceable, and so they sent it back, and they ended up having to go to Switzerland, and he was told that the wait time for this, the turnaround time, was about 7 months. And he was like, well, for a watch, that movement takes about 2 or 3 hours to um, to service, and maybe some QC time. But 7 months, it seemed like a long period of time. And so he had to do it. He did it. He also has a Breguet Big Date Marine, and he had to get that service, and he sent it out, and Breguet told him 9 months, a 9-month wait for the service. Patek, he said it was 3 months, was actually pretty impressed by that. Their turnaround was only 3 months, but he was saying how back in the day, 4 to 8 weeks was a typical experience with turnaround time with the service when you send it back to the brand, and now it seems like it's way more than that, double, triple that in some cases. And he theorized that a couple of reasons, right? So watch purchasing, kind of just went crazy during COVID. So a lot of people, more people, there's a lot more watches. A lot of people have more watches, and maybe perhaps they're sending it back for service. Also, there's less and less watchmakers out there, right? And so when there's only a few schools here in the United States, and these guys are definitely in need, and so encouraging, hopefully more watchmaking out there for people. So I guess the reason why I picked this video and maybe want to discuss is like, have you guys had any experience? I mean, I know we go through a lot of watches, right? So it's probably very rare that we have a piece that sticks around the collection that gets to a point where it needs to be serviced, right? No judgment. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. But I the only watch I've ever had to send back was my Girard Perregaux. I sent it back twice. The first time was about a year or two after I purchased it, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I kind of screwed something up. I was winding it too hard, whatever. And I forget what the turnaround time on that was. This was back in 2007 or 8. But in 2018, I sent it back for service because the date was flipping when it was at 6 o'clock, not when it goes to midnight, right? But that was only 2018. It was, I remember it was a pretty short. Like they told me like 2 months, and it came like maybe in 6 or 7 weeks, and they sent it. They sent it to Switzerland. For sure, because they couldn't do it in house. Have you guys sent anything back recently, or at all? And what was your experience with that?
I just sent in, so I got that Vogard World Timer, the time zoner. I got it from my authorized dealer, and when I got it, I noticed the hour hand was not exactly lined up. Like at 6 o'clock for per se, the hour hand was a little like between the 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So, and that was part of there's a mechanism on the bezel where it has cities on the dial, and you can rotate the bezel, and the hand moves with that to tell you the time in a different city, a different time zone. So I sent it back, and she thought they would probably have to send it back to Switzerland. She felt really bad that they didn't notice that, and I didn't notice it right away either until I took a picture. And then they weren't sure they could service the movement there because they couldn't get parts from Vogard. So they would actually have to send it to Switzerland to Vogard. I didn't hear from her for a few weeks, and she said, good news. Watchmaker was able to completely overhaul it. It works beautifully. Serviced the watch, did a complete service on it. It was under warranty since I bought it from them. So she sent it back to me. I wore it for 5 days. On the 5th day, it just stopped. But it's an ETA 2892. So I figured there was maybe like they just did a service, so maybe like a screw was loose or something.
Yeah.
So that was in the first week of August, and I don't have it back yet. She told me they are just swamped, and there is something loose. That's what it is. It's minor, but they just can't get to it right now. So, so yeah, the first one went pretty well. This one, it's been about 8 weeks, I guess now. So
wow. Sanjay, any experience?
No, not really. I have not had anything long enough to.
Okay. I kind of knew what your answer to that.
Yeah.
I kind of. So let's change it up a little bit. Let's think about it a different way. Now that you're a new man,
Yes.
right, and you're going to be holding watches for 10 years, or however long. And then this goes to you, Clayton, and to the chat. Knowing this about the delays or how long it takes to get watch service, would that affect your purchase or how you purchase? If your intention is, as we all do, right? We intend to keep the watches, but something happens, obviously, and we change our mind. but that change, especially the higher you go up, right? Horology speaking,
Yeah.
right? What do you think, Sanjay? Would that change the way you purchase things? You think?
I don't think so. So
Yeah.
in my extrapolation of my new self, right? Um, which is never a good science because you always interpolate, not extrapolate. But in my extrapolation of my new self, I can see myself 10 years from now, lots of gray hairs. And
You'll
I
still be in
have,
your 30s. What are you talking about? Great.
no, I'd be 40. I'd be
Oh, okay.
40 in
Oh,
October.
okay. 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 All right.
So I've got my Pelagos
Yeah.
and, the loom pips all fall out or something.
Hmm.
And it has to go into service. The movement's not doing too well. At that point, I feel like I would have other watches, right?
Mm.
And it'll be like an extended vacation. And even if it did take 9 months, it wouldn't matter to me as much
Mm.
because now it's a 10-year-old watch that I've enjoyed. And because of that, I'd have a new watch by that point to enjoy. And when it comes back, it'll feel like a new watch again,
Yeah.
I'd be able to re-enjoy it for the next 10 years. So,
Yeah.
and I'll be 50.
All right.
Yep.
Clayton, I feel like this might be bleeding in a little bit to your topic.
Yeah, well,
But
that's fine. Yeah.
how would you think that would affect you going forward?
It does make me
Um,
nervous to own the Moser long term.
mhm.
Not only time is no big deal, but it's like, oh boy, what will this cost?
The service
Mhm.
costs. Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so it'll be going back up on the sales blog after this. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, if you want to play in this world, I think that's just
Yeah,
little
part of
collateral damage, right? It's going to happen.
part of
So
doing business, right?
part, yep, cost of doing business.
I think and going back to the cost aspect of it, I've been thinking about that more and more. How much is it going to cost to service these watches if I intend to keep them? I have to put myself in a mindset that I intend to keep the watches, right? So, um, and how much I used to place importance on like in-house, right? Like these, I needed to get in-house, and so because of that, like I've kind of like having a watch that's in-house is not as important to me. A, because now I understand things a little bit more. You can still have an off-the-shelf ETA or Solita and have like a watchmaker do some amazing things to it, and it's amazing. And then like anybody else can, most of the time service it. Doesn't have to go back to the watchmaker or that particular brand. And so therefore maybe the cost of, because if you have like a collection that's 20 or 30 watches, right? Can you imagine like every year you're servicing a couple? You know what I mean? In the natural rotation of things, like in throughout the years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it can get a little nutty, right? Especially when you get some of these watches that are maybe in house and it's only like the brand can fix. You know what I mean? Is that? I mean, you're obviously thinking about with the Moser, but I don't know. For me, that kind of scares me a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, and we'll get into it in my
Mhm.
video that I paid because it's sort of the different end
Yeah.
of getting a watch serviced a little bit. But yeah, it's and then you have to decide what you want them to do, and yeah, I'll
Hmm.
definitely go into that here in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely that's something I think a lot of us don't think about when we get all of these expensive watches. It doesn't enter my mind until later on when
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about things. But with all that excitement, just accumulating watches, it's not
Mm.
something that's front of mind. Should be maybe think
Yeah.
about long term cost and ownership. But
Sanjay, what is the service cost on like GS Spring Drive?
Honestly, I'm not too sure.
Mm.
I would think it's around the $1,000 mark,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. It's
And
never.
that's probably something like your average watchmaker down the street, you know,
No,
uh, can't take a look at, yeah.
right? Because yeah, it's not normal. A spring
Mm.
drive movement is. I mean, I guess you could argue the only thing different is the escapement, which has that glide wheel and the integrated circuit with the quartz crystal, but Yeah, I don't know of any watchmakers who'd be willing to toy with that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know.
You
I'm
never know.
I'm I'm optimistic. I know a lot of people say, you should be, because especially with that RGM video that we discussed, right, with Teddy Baldassar, he was saying you should service your watches 5 to 10 years, even if they are running perfectly fine, because if you don't, 25 years, it might last you 25 years, but then it'll never run the same again.
Mm.
Um, I'm I kind of know what he's saying, but at the same time, at that point, it's a 25-year-old watch,
Yeah.
and if it's been through the hands of 4 or 5 watchmakers, um, one could make the argument that there could be other stuff that could be going wrong at that point, rather than if it was just sealed tight,
Mm.
stayed like that for 25 years. It's hard to really think. It might not even last that long without needing a service. But
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
other people say, don't just service only when you need to. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, parts will
I'm in that camp, I think.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my GP was running great for over a decade, like almost like, almost like 15 years before like that date wheel thing happened, right?
Mm.
And so like, if that didn't happen, I mean, well, I guess it needed a service or something needed to be done.
Right.
But if that was an issue, I would have never sent it in for a service. Only when you need to, right?
Yeah.
I'm in that camp. I'm in
Yeah.
that camp for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So at that point, one watch may last 10 years, the other one may last 15 years.
Yeah.
So unless if you accumulate a watch a year that you keep, which is unlikely for us.
Hey,
But
speak for yourself, man.
historically speaking.
Yeah. All right, fair
But
enough.
We're all new
do,
guys. We're all new.
Yeah,
brand new
we're
watch.
turning a new leaf this a month
yeah,
ago.
I haven't bought a watch in 2 months. That's a new guy thing for me. That's pretty
Wow.
rare.
yeah.
Since the SJE.
Let's say even if we do buy a watch a year until in perpetuity, that's that's not that much. Like what, $1,000 here or there? I know that sounds super callous and very, but for a service, you send
Mm.
one watch for service every year, which is unlikely to happen in the first place.
Right.
Considering what we're buying in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Wilson say, hey, what happened to Fed's guy Hansi? No, I think Hansi's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And
or
he's
had trouble getting parts.
Or he's goofing off. Yeah, he's either overwhelmed or he's goofing off. So Wei Ben said, I'm not hopeful about my Grand Seiko warranty repair. They have 3 watchmakers for the whole United States, and 1 is out sick, and they're down to 2. Yikes. Sanjay has never even had a battery change on a 9F course.
Never.
Mizone saying, I have 3 watches I need to send in for service. My Zen 104 seized winding mechanisms, and 903 H2 reset pusher does nothing, and Breitling Navitimer 7753 inside, stiff to wind with the crown.
Seized winding mechanism. Would that be like the 2824 SW200 issue, like with the reverser gears when you're hand winding?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to know, Maison.
Easy solution just brought by Quartz. The maintenance is becoming a factor, especially in luxury watches, high costs and long wait times. Sympathy is saying, I've been extremely satisfied with Seiko USA. Sent my MM300 there, and the turnaround time was less than 2 months. My monster repair time was less than 2 weeks.
That's good.
Chaz said I had a full service on my Gray Side of the Moon by Omega, and the turnaround was 11 weeks. Okay, I guess not that bad. I mean, it's a chrono, so maybe a little bit more needs to be done. Put yourself in the mindset, no matter how foolish the idea might be. Yeah.
Sage advice.
Wait, wasn't the new Damasco bump because it was an in-house movement, Bobby? Yeah. I'm not saying like, I'm not saying no to in-house movements.
That
I'm
one
saying
can
like,
also be serviced.
Yeah, well, that one, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm saying like not all of them had to have to be in-house, right? I mean, like having a whole collection of in-house collection watches, in-house movement watches, does not make sense to me anymore. Um, I can appreciate these off-the-shelf movements, these workhorse movements that watchmakers fiddle with. Spring drive service costs around $500, 500 something, according to Grand Seiko website. Okay, not so bad. That's actually not that bad, right?
That's actually concerningly cheap.
Yeah.
What did they do?
Yeah. High beat is around 800. I would expect spring drive to have a little wear because it doesn't have a reciprocal motion mechanism. Everything spins one way. Bobby Newleaf, yeah, that's true. I think we're all in the New Leaf category here. At least I have the faith that we are. Rob is saying, at my age, if a watch lasts 20 years, I'm safe not getting a service for 5 years. Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to our last topic of the evening, and that is from WristSwap, refinishing and servicing my broken Rolex. How much overall experience? ...
I know there's some overlap
Wait.
here, but it was a kind of a different angle. It wasn't a guy trying to get watches serviced to sell them. It was a guy who was getting one service because it's a long-term keeper, and he made some choices that I was wondering if we would make,
Mm-hmm.
and me myself with my Rolex when that time comes. But anyway, yeah, I watched a little bit of this guy. I like him. His name's Harrison. I like the information he gives most of the time. So unfortunate, he was taking some pictures of his Explorer. He went to go and put it back in the watch box, and he dropped it, and it hit his Seiko Turtle. Pretty impressive for the turtle.
Turtle, yeah.
And it cracked, shattered the crystal on his Explorer. Oh man, what a nightmare. So he had to obviously bring it in. He did not buy it from a Rolex authorized dealer. He bought it from Watchbox, but he went to his nearest Rolex authorized dealer, and they gave him a quote right there. They told him how much it was going to cost, rough estimate of time, and he said, "Fine, I'll do it." So it took 1.5 months. I actually had a friend, have a local friend here who I met in another watch group. He dropped his Explorer, same thing. It shattered, almost the same exact situation. Took only 5 weeks for him to get it back. So it's a newer watch, so I don't think he got a full service, but still pretty impressive. Yeah, it came back in a pouch, the Rolex pouch, came back with the service warranty. He had bought it from Watchbox. Sounded like he may not have gotten box and papers with it. That's the impression I got. Don't know that for sure. But yeah, he was really impressed. So he got a crystal swap, full service, water pressure testing, and refinishing. And he said, that's where I know the controversy comes in. Everybody tells you to not polish your watches, but he did it for a couple reasons. It's YouTube content. He's a YouTube content creator, so he thought he could get some mileage out of it, maybe do a before and after. And two, it's just personal preference. Many don't like that, but he does. Dings and scratches don't really tell a story to him, or he doesn't really care about that story. It's not something he values. He'd rather look at he'd rather have that new watch feeling again. That's just personal preference. It's not a watch he plans on selling. So, and he said it's about value retention most of the time, right? Refinishing. And then even when you sell a scratched up watch, sometimes resellers will give it a polish, and most people can't tell if you do it right, and they're not going to examine. It'd be an interesting test for like watch enthusiasts. Show them some different watches and see if they can tell if it's been polished or how many times it's been polished. I'm not sure. I know in some instances you can, but it might be, if it's done really well, it might be tough. He loves the way it looks now. It reignited the new watch feel. It looks the same pretty much. It was really well done by Rolex. They asked him, when you bring a watch in for service, they'll ask you if you want to do it, and he checked the box. Obviously over polishing removes material, right?
Yeah.
That's why collectors don't like the Eric Wins of the world, don't like that, right? The low edges get dulled, the logos raised edges get dulled over. You look at some like vintage, like he said, the crowns on like the buckle of vintage Rolex, and a lot of them are like not raised at all. They're like smoothed over. So I cringe now when I have some Cape Cod cloths, but now I just cringe when people say that they use them all the time. Like, oh, if you like it, I mean, do it. But um, and then you talked about the service crystal. Sometimes there's that like etching that you can only see in certain lights. If it has an S in that crown, that just means it's a service style. This one, or a service crystal, this one does not have that. It was just interesting to hear. It was like $950 for all of that, which sounds pretty reasonable to me. Like we were saying earlier, like I don't think that's outrageous. He said you could bring it to a third party guy and it'll be cheaper, but you never know if it may not be OEM parts, and you don't know how well the refinishing job's going to be. So there's a lot more overhead at these authorized dealers. So that's why they're going to charge a little bit more. I just thought it was, I don't know, great insight into something I'll probably have to deal with if I think my Air King will be a long-term keeper. And then, I wanted to ask you guys, because I don't know that I would get it refinished. I really like all the wear and tear and, polishing. Not that I'm keeping that watch for resale value. I want that to kind of stay in my family. But still, there's something about refinishing to me that does the opposite of what like Harrison experienced. It takes the magic away a little bit. But I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I feel like it depends on what my mood is that day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I certainly, if I had a new watch, like when I had my Rolex Submariner, right? It was new. I was the first owner, and I ended up putting some things in it. Like I never thought that one day I would get anything polished off. I mean, they're part of it. You know what I mean? And I'm not really too hung up of it looks like it's worn. You know what I mean? Like I did those, but I did do those, right? I did do those. So I really don't have an issue. But then there's times when I think like with his case, with his Explorer, if that bezel, right? That's a polished bezel. If that gets dinged up and beat up, and there hasn't been a history of polishing in that watch that anybody can tell of, I'm all for that. Yeah, polish that up, make it look good and new. If you're gonna, and especially if you intend on keeping it, who cares? Resell what people. I mean, you have to worry about what people think is valuable to them as a resale, and you want to cast a wider net that way. I get that, but if you're keeping it, and you want to get that polished up because that can get nicked up pretty easily, I'm all for that. The thing is, then you have to be consistent with the whole watch, because then if you have case that are still scratched up on the side and you just only want the top, I think that looks weird. My thing with the polishing, and I get really nervous about, is like the lugs, right? And then losing that crisp edge on that will bug me more than anything else, if it's over polished and it doesn't match right with the other lugs. But yeah, I mean, depending on my mood, I'm either all for it or against it. So I guess I'm really actually ambivalent to it. You know what I mean? It's just maybe a case by case with the watch, my history with the watch. If it,
case by case, huh?
Yeah. I didn't mean that. I'm like a genius. I didn't mean that. I just did it. I just said it, right? It's just it's case by case. But yeah. So I get where he's coming from, and I could buy into his logic about why he did it, for sure. Sanjay, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually I love scratches. I don't know what it is. It's something. Maybe it's just the chaos of it. There's just something I like when something's not perfect. I don't know what it is. Like the power reserve on a spring drive watch. Power reserve on the dial. I think it adds a little bit of chaos to complete and perfect order. And I think I kind of like that. Not don't extrapolate that and consider me an anarchist or anything. I'm not. But yeah, I think the scratches, there's just something really endearing about them, especially seeing Marcus's watches.
I love that.
How much he's worn them and seeing the scratches. It's just something so cool about that.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, it's like Patricia Arquette's teeth. She's really pretty. She got a little snaggle tooth. So it kind of is perfect the way it is. You know what I mean? No? Okay, go on. Sorry.
Not a clue. Who is that?
She's an actress.
Yeah, I'm sure she's pretty.
It's like a birthmark or something. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
part of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know if this would equate it to a birthmark. I think the spring drive power reserve indicator would be like a birthmark, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
it's intended to be there. This is more like wrinkles, like that,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
smile lines or furrowed brow, or
Yeah.
you know,
All
there's something
once.
endearing about those things. Like, what do they call them? Crow's feet? I don't
Crow's
know why they
feet.
call-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work in
Don't-
the sun all day, so I have them. Oh boy.
Yeah.
don't- don't-
What are crow's feet? Is it the eye thing?
When
Yeah.
when I smile, you can see them. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Don't
Smile
ever bring
lines.
that up to a woman. Don't do
No,
that.
no.
Don't bring
Well,
that
they
up.
don't want to hear that. But they have
They don't.
Botox. They have Botox.
Yeah.
I guess I
Yeah.
could use it too, but I wouldn't. But
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I find that like a paralyzed look attractive, but it's just,
like our version of getting a polish.
yeah, that's a good analogy, actually. There you go. But I do like scratches on watches, like when I except when there are dings. I like you said, Rob, when there's a ding on a crisp edge, that will drive me up the wall.
Yeah.
Like if
Mhm.
if a lug spring bar skipped through the top and it was like a super tense spring and it leaves a
Yeah.
little ding on the
Yeah.
front. Oh, it's
Yeah.
the worst. But scratches, on the other hand, I do like scratches. So I wouldn't entertain refinishing my watches. It would just be like my sister the other day. She was looking at my Omega Planet Ocean, and she put it on her wrist with her Apple Watch on at the same time,
Oh.
and
Oh,
smashed it on there. I was just taking like wrist shot
Wei Ben
pictures.
would not be happy.
And
Not Wei
there-
Ben, Waco. Sorry, Wei Ben.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Waco.
and there is a mark on there from the crown of the Apple Watch. I think from the crown, but actually, again, my sister did that. You know, I kind of like it. It's just you know, it's just
Wow,
a
you're a good
memory.
brother.
You know.
Wow.
You're a good brother. I would be a little upset about that. I'd be
Yeah,
like,
I was upset at first. I was just like, you know, wincing when I
Yeah.
saw it. It was too late to say
Sisters.
anything about it, so I just, you know, might as well just suck it up. Why make the situation a bit awkward? It was too late by the time I noticed. But you know, now I find it endearing. So
Yeah. I
Don't
mean,
get
the bezel on my Air King is the same as the Explorer. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's really marked up. And I've only owned that watch 1 year. It looks like I've owned it 5 years, but I don't know, that's how I wear my watches. That's how I bought it. So that's how I want to wear it. That's like the stress free. Now I don't go out of my way to, but yeah, the clasp has some marks. The bracelet does for sure. So
But if you actually keep this watch, right? Let's say you keep this watch for forever, right? I mean, do you think maybe
Open.
yeah? So do you think maybe at some point when you're less physical, right? Like you know, your dog walking empire has grown. You have people working for you, and you're just sitting on top of the mountain with your chair and your chalice and your
Pile
anyway.
of poop eggs.
Yeah,
Resting comfortably on a pile of poop eggs. Yeah.
yeah, sure. But so I mean, at that point, we're like, hey, you know what? Let me get it polished over. Because I mean, they have a special technique that those Rolex people, they have like that
Oh yeah, they
laser
can make it look brand new, probably.
brand new without
Yeah.
without very little alteration. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's amazing what they can do. Like,
Right.
would you consider that?
I don't know. I'm leaning towards no. I would lose like I feel like Sanjay would say this, like I would have sleepless nights over it. And, like I think I really would. It would be an agonizing. I don't know if I'd be happy with either decision, but I'd lean towards leaving it alone because I'm just gonna
Gotcha.
scratch it again anyway,
Yeah.
and then it's like altered. So I might as
Yeah.
well just leave the scratches that are there. Yeah, like the dings are like if I put a severe ding on it, maybe have to rethink what they or ask what my options are if any. But it
Also-
just like surface scratches, I'm fine.
just to add to that, spending time with Marcus's Submariner made me appreciate bevels to a whole new level. Because the Submariner is just, you know, super, and even GMT Master, just, you know, nice crisp sharp edge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just begging for a ding there.
Yeah.
Well, bevel would kind of deflect it, right? But Oh, scary, scary.
I banged my Explorer that I had off of our kitchen counter, put a nice ding, but it wasn't like on the edge. It was on the it was on one of the links, but I really put a nice
Yeah.
ding in it. And I actually learned to love it. I remember I posted it on Instagram. I think it was Bro Dinky actually like commented like leave it alone and it looks awesome. I was like, yeah, you know, it does look awesome. So, and then I sold it, and Crown and Caliber didn't even mention it or didn't take any of the price that they quoted me off of. It was right when it was discontinued, so I think they were just looking
Yeah.
for a lot of them. But I had no problem offloading it with that condition. So
Nice. Maison says none of my watches presently have any marks or scratches serious enough to require polishing of any kind. When put in for service, I will stipulate no refinishing for the 3 watches I mentioned here before. Rob saying must give siblings a pass. Heck, I wrecked my brother's truck and he didn't hurt me, so too bad. Raising 4 kids, everything I own scratched and things. Oh, I feel you, man. I feel you, Chaz. I'm going through that too. I'm sure Sanjay is going through that as well. On modern watches, scratches are the only patina.
yeah.
Han says, I just leave the scratches. These aren't safe queens. Wear and enjoy your watches. They're only going to get scratched again anyway, right? I mean, like if you're worrying about scratches, you're really actually worrying. Okay, let me not say that. Perhaps you're wearing. One of the reasons why you're wearing is because of resale, right?
Right.
There's some people out there who just like scratches are just like they can't cope with that, right? I
Yeah.
get that, and I didn't want to say like the only reason why you're worrying about scratches is because of resale. But that's not always the
Some
case.
people just don't like that look.
Some people just can't stand that look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob is telling Chaz, my parents bought new stuff after all the kids moved out. That's totally what's going to happen here. New easy bake oven. When the kids, oh man. Hey, well, guys, hey, we did it. We made it through another episode, another week of Watch Soup. And hey, Sanjay, what do you got coming up on your channel? Anything we should be looking out for?
Couple of reviews I still need to edit, so maybe that'll happen this week. But other than that, just Saturday night watch talk.
Yeah, Saturday
Saturday
watch
night.
talk for sure. On every Saturday night.
Every Saturday night.
Clayton, you got a couple podcasts coming up, I presume?
Yeah, tomorrow morning should be the one with Mr. Chaz from the Berg, and then I
yes.
recorded another one yesterday that should be next week's. So
very, very nice.
yeah.
And for me, guys, hey, Tuesday night watch talk. Not sure now. I'm doing some more videos, so I don't know if I'm going to keep doing the Friday night one. But we'll see. So definitely Tuesday and Sunday nights, perhaps a Friday occasionally. I'm trying to step up my German watch YouTube content game up. More of that coming soon. Anyway, guys, have a great week. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Clayton and Sanjay, for co-hosting this evening with me. And you all have a great week. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Have a good week.